White Beam, to me, is a very intriguing upset possibility. She should be 4, 5, 6 to 1. Ciao, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of Saratoga Saturday 2023. Third Saturday of the meet. Today's Thursday. We're taping on Thursday. Let's look at a couple of scenes from the races at Saratoga today. In Saratoga, on Pass the Wire TV, next best thing to being there. Thank you for visiting Pass the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PassTheWire.com.
Tracking trips with Pick 6 King Jonathan Stettin. It's one of the best tools in horse racing for any level of player. It's your second set of eyes, spotting troubled trips, betting angles, track trends, horses to watch and favorites to fade, 10 figs, ticket structure, and more. At Tracking Trips, you're a friend with benefits. Not a member? You must hate winning money. Join Tracking Trips now. Visit PassTheWire.com and we'll see you in the winner's circle. Remember, nobody does it better.
I hope everybody enjoyed a little bit of Saratoga and the Saratoga vibe from Thursday. And we're going to start the show with a couple of things that, for better or worse, we need to talk about. I've been talking about this for years. I've been writing about it for years. People are jumping all over it now. People, have jumped all over it before, but I think I go back as far as anybody. Being dissatisfied with a lot of aspects of stewards, disqualifications, interpretation of rules, and subjectivity as opposed to objectivity. I grew up in an era in horse racing when things were different. Pretty much a foul was a foul, and if you fouled somebody, you got disqualified. And it didn't matter where in the race it was. They used to take horses down coming out of the gate. Nowadays, out of the gate doesn't matter. And, for a little historical aspect on this, and again, if you've read some of the articles or heard some of the shows I've done on this, I apologize for being a little redundant, but it is what it is. We got it. It's not fixed, so we got to talk about it. But people used to complain and say, "Gee, my horse got DQ'd. And he really didn't affect the outcome of the race." And there were so many of those cries that ultimately this category 1 and category 2 became introduced as different sets of rules, and they became subjective and gave the stewards the discretion to decide whether it cost a horse a better chance at a placing or whether it cost a horse a better finish. Foul, automatic come down was no longer how the rules were. I could read you the rule in New York, but I'm not going to bother. It's subject to interpretation, and the way that it is, you can DQ, or it says may be disqualified, which means it may not be disqualified, but it's pretty much at the steward's discretion. I'm against that. I think we can all agree on whether or not, or most of us can agree on whether or not a foul occurred. I don't think we can agree, and I don't even think the stewards can agree a lot of the times, but certainly we as bettors and fans who are putting money into the game can't agree whether a foul cost a horse a better placing or a chance at a better placing. That's very subjective. It's very, much a matter of opinion, and opinions in gambling games are clouded by wages. So it's just not a very, very good system. Maybe they should do it like they do in other jurisdictions where they leave the order alone and they find the rider, or maybe they should go back to a foul as a foul. But and you come down. What we have now is not working. And a beautiful example is if you look at the race on Wednesday, the last race, and you see that they did not disqualify Jose Ortiz's horse. And then you see today that they did disqualify Irad Ortiz's horse. I'm not going to get into whether either one of those things or either one of those incidents was the right call or not. Okay. I go back to Saratoga when they took down a horse named Alamuse, okay, and paid off on another horse, and it turned out it was the wrong horse. They took down the wrong horse. You can Google, look up Alamuse, Allemeuse, I believe is how you spell it for those who don't remember or don't know. If you don't know, now you know. They make mistakes. There's no way, okay, if your head does anything but separate your ears, that you can logically argue or make the decision that today should have been a DQ and yesterday shouldn't. They either both were or they both weren't. There is zero, absolutely none consistency, okay? And the most important thing you need is consistency. It takes away from the integrity of the game. It takes away from our confidence in the game, which is already in a weakened state and eroding rapidly. You cannot have stewards unaccountable and making decisions, discretionary decisions like that affect people's money and the outcomes of races. Bettors, owners, riders, trainers, everybody that's involved with a financial stake in the game, you're messing with making inconsistent decisions. I don't care whether you're right or wrong. You gotta be consistent. You can't be inconsistent. You can't interpret the rule one way on Wednesday, another way on Thursday. I don't care category 1, category 2. It's too subjective. They have already proved, and not just at NYRA, all over the place, okay, that subjectivity doesn't work. They need to either be objective, and the rule is you foul somebody, bang, you're down. Old days, and it don't matter whether it comes out of the gate or whether it comes at the 16th pole or the 8th pole or the black stripes or the quarter pole or the half-mile pole. It doesn't matter, okay? And if you think that, coming out of the gate, it doesn't matter because you have time to recover, well, then you just never been punched in the chest or the gut, because you take a shot, boom. It's sometimes not as easy to recover as you think within a minute and a half or whatever, No. Bayern in the Breeders' Cup Classic hit Shared Belief. Did Shared Belief have a chance to recover in that mile and a quarter? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he got the wind knocked out of him. The reason was, well, didn't really affect the placing. He had a mile and a quarter to recover and get himself together. Whoever made that decision, I think it was Scott Chaney, I'm not sure, but I don't think that was a majority steward's decision back then with Bayern, but whoever made it never been punched in the gut, never been punched in the chest. You don't recover that fast and you are at a disadvantage. Out of the gate matters. Everything in a race matters. It all affects a race and the outcome of a race. So we need to have rules, whether category 1, category 2 both stink, as far as I'm concerned. They're useless rules, too subjective, don't work. You either need a foul is a foul and you come down no matter where in the race it happened, and you need clear guidelines. This is what a foul is, and if you do this, you're coming down. Or you go the other way and you leave the order of finish as it is, but you fine the rider heavily and you suspend the rider heavily. And I could live with either one of those things. The category 1 and category 2 nonsense is not for me. It's one of many reasons my handle is less than it has been in a long time. And that's it. I'll wrap it up with that. You could watch the 2 races, and if you think logically that both of those calls were correct and are consistent with each other, put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. All right. I would love to hear it, because for me, it makes no sense. Zero, none. They were either both cause for a disqualification under the rule, or they were neither cause for disqualification under the rule. To go one way on Wednesday and another way on Thursday is just inconsistent. And the last thing we need is inconsistency from the stewards. Moving along, before we get to the races, Linda Rice. Linda Rice is winning with everything. If Gunnett wins the Alfred Vanderbilt tomorrow, I may start looking into whether or not Oscar came back and is back in the game. All kidding aside, Gunnett actually does have a shot in that race, but we're going to talk about that race. We shall take a little break. We'll get back. We'll talk about some races and spots at Saratoga. We're not going to talk about Del Mar today. Not enough time, and we had our little Stewards ramble that we had to get to. But for some more insight on Saratoga, I had my friend Tommy Hammer-Massis on the show this week. We talked a little bit about Saratoga and a lot of other things, maids, 3-year-olds, Go Rocket Ride, a lot of interesting stuff. And it's always interesting with Hammer. So if you didn't get a chance to check that show out, check it out. Let me know what you think. We do have the Thoroughgraph Bound show coming up. We do have the Test by the Thoroughgraph Numbers. We do have the Travers by the Thoroughgraph Numbers. And Go Rocket Ride fooled me a little bit. I thought his pattern was not, indicative of a for sure forward move. I did put him on our list of the fastest 3-year-olds when we did that show earlier about, the fastest 3-year-olds and who they might be right now and as the year goes on. But what I did was, and it's not the numbers that lied. The numbers were good, and it was me, because he ran, I think, and I'm going off memory, of 5 in that comeback race, and I would have liked to have seen him run faster than that. And I thought if he went forward, it wasn't going to be enough to win the Haskell. I underestimated Mandela and how he brings a horse to a race, and that's just a rookie mistake that I never should have made, because I'm a huge Mandela fan, and I just misread him with that horse. It wasn't the numbers, it was me. But we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about some spots on the Saratoga card. The racing at Del Mar, we're not going to talk about, but it has been phenomenal. My man, Umberto Rispoli, who I love, is riding lights out there. I'm glad to see him back in his groove with Matt Nakatani as his agent. He's riding as good as anybody out there, anybody in the country right now. And that's good to see. And we'll be back. So stay tuned. Frankie Dettori Ciao, Frankie. Tutto a posto.
Tutto a posto. Yes, that's a good start. So you haven't lost your Italian.
Frankie Dettori, legend, world-class jockey, one of the best ever to sit in the saddle, ambassador to the sport of kings. Meet Frankie during his fanfare like never before, only on Past the Wire TV.
In the Breeders' Cup Classic, Vino Rosso has taken the lead, and it's a vintage performance by Vino Rosso.
Here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING. Get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator exclusively on DRF Bets.
It is here, the big day, the day almost all of us in horse racing wait for, Breeders' Cup Saturday. It looks like we're going to see some really, really impressive races on Saturday. It starts with the filly and mare sprint. One of my stronger opinions on the card is Goodnight Olive to start things off. I think she gets a perfect trip.
Goodnight Olive, 6 in a row, and a Breeders' Cup champion.
We've got Modern Games going in the Turf Mile for Godolphin. The Godolphin and Aidan O'Brien horses, we said on Past the Wire TV all week long on the backside. Those two contingents stuck out from all the rest. Modern Games looking for a big race from him.
Modern Games, storming down the center of the course. Modern Games, a two-time Breeders' Cup winner. You bet he is.
That is Rebels Romance, who in my humble opinion is one of Godolphin's better chances this year. Rebels Romance is a very, very good looking Godolphin horse that can absolutely win this race. Rebels Romance is a must use.
Rebels Romance, rolling on the outside. Warland got it, makes her bid down toward the inside. Rebels Romance down the center of the course, has it close to home. Rebels Romance wins the turf over Stoney.
We got Flightline that they're putting in the best ever category. There's no question that the race he ran in the Pacific Classic is one of the best races we've seen any racehorse run ever.
It is Flightline, it is spine-tingling, jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring, Secretariat-like Breeders' Cup Classic win.
All right, we'll get to some spots on the card at Saratoga. We're going to start on the later part of the card. We're going to start in race 7. In race 7, they've got a first-time starter by Good Magic, and we know the Good Magics have been lights out. Fast work. They decided to make Dawn Arch Danny Goggins' horse 2-1 on the morning line. I hope it stays that way at 6.5 furlongs, because that is not where I land. There were 2 horses in that race that caught my eye. One was the 6, drum roll please, a first-time starter from Brad Cox. These are 2-year-old, colts, geldings. Most of them are colts, I would imagine. First-time starter, nice workouts at Keeneland, nice workouts at Churchill, nice workouts at Saratoga. I like hard spun. Just catches the eye, jumps out at me, like the works. He rides Florent Giroux a lot. Florent finally got a winner up at the meet, so he's got that going for him. And we know Brad is always deadly and live with first-time starters, and he's a trainer that can win at 6.5 furlongs first time out. That's a tricky distance to win first time out. Keep that in mind. Go forward. A debut at 5, 5.5, and 6. Most trainers can get it done. 6.5, 7, going a route, even on the turf. Once you get into that, it's a much smaller group of trainers that can get it done. Cox is on that list, no question. Lambeau had a start. The 8-horse Steve Asmussen's horse, they tend to go forward at second off a layoff. He showed some speed at Ellis at 4 to 5. When they go 4 to 5, it always catches the eye. But that was at Ellis. He's an Uncle Mo. I think he's going to take a lot of money, but that was not the other one I land on. The other one that I liked was actually the 9, Global Perspective. This colt is a tappet out of a mare called Rosemond. Okay, Rosemond wasn't all that of a racehorse, but she's been a heck of a mare. She's 4 for 4 with her foals. I like that. One of them was a horse named Royayton, Rowayton. Was a very, very fast horse. Didn't really pan out and get to his potential, but he had a lot of ability. He was very, very fast. He was out of this mare. Now we've got to tap it out of this mare that's been up at Saratoga since May. What does that tell me? That tells me Chad was looking to run this horse at the spa, had him up here early, probably likes him. So Pratt's up, Global Perspective. Those are 2 that I will definitely be watching in the 7th race. Moving to the 8th race, the Alfred Vanderbilt. Everybody's waiting on a line to knock and bet against Elite Power. I don't think Elite Power is a cinch at all, but I'm not a co-signer on that philosophy. I forget which commentator it was, and I hate to knock these guys, but some of them say the most ridiculous things. But one of the commentators says a couple of weeks ago, and I mute them most of the time, but sometimes it's I catch things. I think they said, I don't care where Elite Power runs next or who's in the race, I'm betting against him. Okay. I love people like that who bet and that are in the pool. If you think you know the winner before you even know where they're running, good luck. Long run, you're a donator. But looking at the race, as much as I respect Elite Power and as good as I think he's gotten, and I don't think by any means that you can dismiss him or be at all surprised if he wins. He's 7 for 10. He's a Breeders' Cup Sprint winner. He's a Vosburg winner. He's 1 for 1 at Saratoga, where he won a nice allowance race. No knocks whatsoever. That said, there were 2 other horses that I looked at, and we did the show about the Saratoga Angles. Horses that won over the track are already coming back to win. We've already had our first one win and come back and win again at the meet. Ichiban, I think he was. Yes, he was a favorite. They're all not going to be favorites. You're going to catch some prices that angle produces as well. But we've already got one that won. We're only, a couple of weeks in. Things are just getting started, especially for that angle. So Gunnett from Saratoga 3 times. He's hit the board every time. He was claimed for $62,500 by Linda Rice at Keeneland. Runs second off the claim, showing more speed than he normally does. Runs in turf race, not really a turf horse, over 3 on the grass. Looks like she just took a shot in there with him. And then he figures it out, runs a big race, 109 and change at Belmont, wins going 3/4 of a mile, going away under Jose Ortiz, who's riding a lot of his Aunt Linda's winners. She's like 40% at the meet. He's about 24, 25% at the meet, might be more if he didn't have those couple of days off when he got hurt. We're glad he's okay. But Gunnett, as much as I like to joke and say he wins, we know Oscar's back. I don't mean that. He actually wouldn't shock me, but I don't land on him, and I don't land on Elite Power as much as I respect Elite Power. I actually lean on another different horse for course, who Elite Power handled pretty easily in Saudi Arabia, but this is not Saudi Arabia, different race, different day. And the comment, no chance with winner, might help the price on Gunnett, which is where I landed a little bit. But I think Gunnett gets a little bit of a better trip from the 5-hole than Elite Power might get tomorrow, on Saturday rather. So I think he's dangerous. He likes Saratoga. I think he's going to get a trip. I think he's going to get the jump. Again, he's 4 starts at the spot, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 3 for 5 at the distance, coming off a nice confidence building win in the Aristides. Bango come out of that race to win. I like all of that. I worry a little bit about the races in Saudi Arabia and Dubai, where he ran real good in both those races. Coming back is always tough, but I think he gets a trip. I like his last race. That showed, I guess, he came back okay. The works are good after the race. So I kind of lean to Gunnett in a race where there's 3 horses that can easily win, in my opinion, and none of them would surprise me even a little bit. In the 9th race, an allowance race, a non-winner, a rare non-winner, a 1. That's actually not an optional claimer as well. It's just a straight non-winner, a 1. There were 2 horses I was looking at. One was the 3-horse Bolivar, Irish bred horse from Brendan Walsh, who's been off since May 12th. Comes to this country from France, first time in the country, runs up the track on the synthetic in a stake at Turf Paradise, does no running whatsoever. No Lasix, awkward start through, was the comment. I watched the replay. There was nothing to see. The horse just didn't run a step, wrapped up, IRAD, and that was that. Comes back with Lasix in an allowance race at Churchill Downs on May 12th. And kind of didn't have the most comfortable trip, in my opinion. I think Jared Loveberry rode him good, but he was on the inside. He was very patient with the horse. He was kind of sitting there. The horse didn't look like he was in the most comfortable spot. Swung out 3 wide, 4 wide, and then closed okay. Looked like a horse that needed to get his legs under him and get that race into him. Working steady after the race, stays on the turf. Second start with Lasix. I like it. Tyler Gaffleon, coincidentally, up again. I think that horse is very live and should be a fair price. The other horse I like is a horse on the outside, the 10-horse Get Your Kicks, who's coming off a layoff from May 13th, but first time out at Gulfstream on the dirt, horse didn't do anything at all. Put the horse on the grass. First time was bet to favoritism from the 10-hole at Gulfstream, wide post, drew off, 1 easy. Comes back first time against winners. Expansive is a Todd Pletcher horse. I believe went wire to wire as an only speed that day. This horse kind of chased him and backed up a little bit, but freshened up since May. Working very, very good. Looks like he's pointing for this race. It's a good spot for him to come back. Gets Pratt for IRAD. I'm fine with that. Looks very dangerous to me. Brings us to the big race on the card, the Jim Dandy. We talked about on another show, the Haskell grade 1 $1 million race being a prep for the Travers. The Jim Dandy's the official prep for the Travers. We had the Curlin already. Another could be prep for the Travers, but officially it's the Jim Dandy. And, I talked about Forte on the Fastest 3-Year-Old show. He's got to win at Saratoga. He's going to be a very heavy favorite. Mike Rapoli's in the news talking about, how he's going to get out of the game in 3 years if he can't, make some serious changes. I don't know. People get hot and say things, whether or not he means that or follows through. We'll see. But changes, I don't know. This game, things don't change fast. 3 years, not a long time for change in thoroughbred horse racing, especially changes for the better. And I mean better, B-E-T-T-O-R, and better, B-E-T-T-E-R. We use both. But, Forte, his Belmont to me is a race that looks better than it really was. Yes, I get it. He was off a layoff. Yes, I get it. He was running at the end, but I'm not so sure he was running at the end as I am that everybody else was not running at the end. So I think that race looks better than it is. I think it's not ideal for him to cut back from the 1.5 miles to the 1.125 miles. Can he win? Of course, he's going to be, even money 4 to 5. He's, a 2-year-old champ, and he hasn't really lost any luster yet. He won the Fountain of Youth. He won the Florida Derby. He's got that second off in the Belmont, off the layoff, off the vet scratch in Kentucky for the Derby and not being able to run in the Preakness. But I don't know how fit he wasn't for the Belmont. I believe he was, or they never would have run him that 1.5 miles. Not ideal conditions, but I don't think they would have run him. And I just think we've seen his best, and he's facing a horse in here that I think we haven't seen his best, and he's just getting really good. Now, the pace doesn't favor Disarm on the rail all that much because there's not a lot of speed in here, and he's a closer. But he's won at Saratoga impressively, so we know he likes the track. He got good as the year progressed and kind of put it all together in the slop in the Matt win last time. His 4th in the Kentucky Derby, I think, is a much better than it looks race as opposed to Forte's race in the Belmont, where I think it's not as good as it looks. I think Disarm is sitting on a really big race. They've got him 6 to 1 from the rail on the morning line. The pace doesn't favor him. I like horses that get a pace advantage. I like, when my horse projects to trip out the way that I like, and Disarm really doesn't check those boxes, but he's an improving horse who likes to track. He's got a full 1.125 miles to go. I'd love it if it was 1.25 miles. It's not. The Travers will be. I think this horse is sitting on his best race to date. I think he's going to go forward. I like his works after the Matt win in the slop, where he really had to dig in and nail verifying who came out of that race to win. I think he's sitting on a big race. Now, it's only a 5-horse field. I liked Angel of Empire in the Belmont. He was I didn't like him at all in the Derby. If you remember, I liked him in the Belmont. Huge disappointment. I don't have much of an excuse for him. I don't love his last 2 rides by Flavien Prat, but there was nothing. And he's by Classic Empire. We're cool, more Classic Empire today, but he doesn't do it for me. Saudi Crown, pace wise, definitely has a pace advantage, is going to be winging on the lead with Florent Giroux. He went 6 furlongs. He went 6.5, won both those races. They stretched him out. Fort Bragg dug in and really just beat him for Bob Baffert in the Dwyer. He was much more game than I thought he was going to be, and gave Fort Bragg more than I thought he would be able to. He's the speed. He's the only speed. He's going to be on the lead. You got, Brad Cox, with an only speed, and me betting a closer with Disarm. but sometimes you just got to go with your gut. And my gut tells me that Forte may go after him and Florent a little early, which is going to take Forte a little out of his game, especially coming out of the Belmont. So yeah, I can envision a trip that helps my horse. And I think that if that happens, and maybe we get lucky and Luis Saez, who's aggressive, gets a little aggressive with his show early, maybe Disarm can get the right setup. But I think he's going to be running late. I think he's a horse to watch. He's another one that we had on our fastest 3-year-olds, according to the Thoroughbred Numbers and Patterns show. That's on the homepage of the website and in the handicapping section of the Past the Wire TV channel. You can check it out. It's an interesting show if you missed it. And you'll see that we were ahead of the curve on some of these horses. I don't remember if we had Sorting Crown. I don't think so. I think I put that extra Anejo horse on there, who I really wasn't a fan of, but a lot of people had asked me about him, and I think that's why I wound up putting him on there. But you know, Sorting Crown, maybe they can nail him again. He did go fast in the Dwyer. The Dwyer at Belmont, keep in mind, is 1 turn. This is his first time going 2. He's by Always Dreaming. I'm not a huge fan of Always Dreaming as a sire. So I'm going to take a shot with Disarm, even though he's got, you know, a couple of obstacles there. In the last race, the 12th race, to close out the card, it's a maiden special on the turf. And hopefully the weather's good. We stay on the turf at Saratoga. You never know. But it's a mile and 3/8, and I like that. And I like a horse that has 1 start. The Todd Pletcher, that's 5-1, that ran a mile. He's by Tappert out of an Uncle Mo. Tappert, Belmont winner. So, you know, not really bred for the grass, but Todd ran him on the grass first time out. Didn't have a great trip. Now he gets a marathon distance, and Flavian Pratt. Got a feeling this horse may be one of the horses that's really running late and really appreciates this distance, and goes forward second off the layoff. It can definitely make some noise in the finale at the Spa on Saturday. So there you have it. Saratoga Saturday, week 3, videography by Jim Gazzale. He's the best in the game. We love Jim. He's our boots on the ground as well. We're going to be bringing you a lot more from the racetrack, from the backside with Jim as the meet goes on. It's early. Be patient. We got a long way to go. Saratoga used to be a sprint. Now it's a marathon. So plenty of time to do some damage and have some fun along the way. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Let me know what you think about the inconsistency with the stewards in the comments. It's awfully frustrating for me. You know, if you can, you know, show me some rationale why, you know, those calls were consistent and one was and one wasn't justifiable or DQ according to the same rule, I'd love to hear it. I don't see it, but you know, I always love to hear from all of you. So thanks for tuning in. Go do some damage. Enjoy the weekend. The Track and Trips is doing pretty good. We're doing a little better at Belmont and Saratoga, but even when we do bad, we do good on Track and Trips. So, you know, check that out if you get the chance. A lot more coming. Let's keep some surprises under wraps. So you got some things to look forward to. Okay, everybody. Ciao. Grazie. Go get them. And we will be back with Saratoga Saturday next week, and we'll have plenty of stuff before that as well. Does it better.